Last few talks, we've built up a picture of the pattern of nervous illness. Now Dr. Claire Weekes continues her series looking at the particular problem of phobias and obsessions, the cause of our patient Anne's nervous breakdown.
From time to time you used to get assessed at the hospital. You had these cards and they used to say, does this bother you, does that bother you? And one of the things on it was pins and needles and broken glass. And because broken glass was tagged onto it, I suddenly thought, oh, I hadn't thought of that. And around about the same time, one of the dairies was prosecuted for having, I think it was a nail in a bottle of milk. And I suddenly thought, what if they smashed a bottle at the milk bottling plant? What if there's bits of broken glass in all those milk? What if they haven't checked them all carefully? And if I pour some milk into someone's drink, it's going to kill them. I'm going to harm them. So after that I had to sieve all the milk. And I became so frightened, especially in relation to food, that I got to the stage when I think we lived on boiled eggs because you can't, nothing much can happen to them. You get absolutely sick of boiled eggs. But I could see danger everywhere and I had to be very much on my guard.
Dr. Weekes, are phobias and obsessions the same thing?
No, oh no, they're not at all. But they do overlap. A phobia is a persistent irrational fear, and an obsession is thoughts that preoccupy a mind to an abnormal degree. I don't like definitions, but there they are for you. A phobia can be, although it's a frightening thing to talk about and hear about, it can be very simply developed, as you see in Anne and have seen in Anne. And because of that, it can be very simply, in my mind, amongst my patients, cured. Now, I didn't say easily, I said simply. For instance, when a phobia develops, you have, as I explained in the talk on nervous fatigue, the ground already prepared. You have a sensitized person whose emotions are being exaggeratedly recorded, the person who feels, instead of fear, a flash of panic, instead of feeling that the sight is sad, feels that it's tragic. That person is in a position to get the wrong reaction to a certain fearful thought. And also, if he is at the same time mentally tired, he can get a sort of shock with it, and he doesn't forget it very easily. And this is how simply it can develop. There was
Because I was going to say, in Anne's case, I know that it all seemed to have begun from the fact that she heard a burglar come into the house.
Yes, she had a shock, but before that she was very, very tired. And the shock, as it were, brought such an intense reaction to her that she couldn't forget it. And because she was mentally tired, it stuck. But can I just talk about a plain phobia first? Somebody who has just an irrational fear of something. There was a nurse in a maternity hospital, let's deal with her, because her phobia is one that many nervously ill people have, and that is the fear of harming someone. Now, she was carrying a little baby just born to have its bath, and she was in such a state of sensitization herself that she felt disintegrated almost, as if she had no control really over her own thoughts. And you see, they were so emotional. And when she looked down on this little baby that was so helpless, completely at her command, as it were, she suddenly had the normal thought that anybody would have, oh, what if I, in my present state, were to hurt that baby, to harm that baby? And then, because she was sensitized, that recorded that thought as, ooh, what if I hurt it on purpose? Such an easy transition. And she happened to be then standing beside a window. And then came the thought, what if I were to throw it out? So she rushed past the window. But whenever she came along that corridor with a baby, and she had to carry them through the day, past that window, she hurried past the window. And from then on, windows brought back that fear, so that she became afraid to pass almost any window. She always got that whoosh of fear. And she went to a therapist for help, and he said to her, "You are an aggressive type. There is this hidden aggression." Of course, that made her feel guilty. So no windows meant guilt. It was compounding, it was building up. And I was able to show her how normal the situation had been in the beginning. Her reaction was normal in the circumstances of her sensitization, of her feeling that she wasn't secure within herself. How could she give security to a little one? That's normal. And isn't it normal to suddenly think from, if I might accidentally hurt, what if I did hurt? And that is how so many mothers, if they're listening to me today, have felt this about children. They are not aggressive types. They are only very tired, vulnerable people. And that is only a thought that they think. It has no substance at all. They would never hurt the children.
So when they think that thought,
yes,
what else should they think?
Well, they do what I taught Anne to do. It is only a strange thought in a very tired mind. And they don't try to stop it coming, because that only underlines it in red. They accept the thought. They will think the thought. It's been their habit to think the thought, but they must see it for what it is, a thought in a very tired mind. They are not aggressive people. It wasn't just a question of teaching her to know that this was just a strange thought in a tired mind. Anne had to glimpse and practice that. An obsessive person can't say, "Well, yes, you've explained to me, doctor, I understand," and walk out of the surgery cured. The minute they leave the surgery, the thought will slap them in the face again, and their body will react in exactly the same way, and they'll think, "I'm lost. She's told me all that, but I'm still doing it," you see? So they practice glimpsing almost as one would practice playing the piano. When they have the obsessive thought, which is the wrong direction, almost compelling them, propelling them, that's when they practice. But it is only a thought in a tired mind. While that compulsion is on, it is only a thought. And for a moment, they will glimpse it without having the overwhelming feeling of compulsion. There'll be a little peace for a moment. That's what they build on. That's what Anne built on. It's a long, long way they have to go. But the answer is cure, as it is with Anne.